On this edition of Independent Sources, a window of opportunity, helping immigrants with their fear of banks and other financial institutions in the United States. And Love in Black and White, a poem examining a Black woman dealing with interracial dating in an increasingly gentrifying neighborhood goes viral. Those stories and more coming up. Welcome to Independent Sources, bringing you news from New York's ethnic and immigrant communities. I'm Abby Ashola. New York City's Department of Consumer Affairs and the Mexican Consulate have teamed up to take the fear and guesswork out of banking for many of the city's new immigrants. They've invested in a financial counseling window program that offers one-on-one assistance to this population. Many of these people are often afraid to share their information for fear of their immigration status being revealed, or they are simply unable to afford some of the more exorbitant banking fees. Zyphus LeBron found out more about the program when he spoke to Alba Pico, the first Deputy Commissioner of the Department of Consumer Affairs, and Francisco Tovar, the Economic Affairs Consul at New York City's Mexican Consulate.
Alba and Francisco, thank you very much for being in studio today.
Thank you for inviting us.
Okay, so let's just start with, obvious question. Why was the financial empowerment window created initially, Alba?
Yeah, so in 2013, the agency conducted an immigrant financial study from the Mexican community, Ecuadorians, and Chinese community, and 57% of the Mexican newcomers to New York City didn't have bank accounts. They were concerned about if they had a bank account, they have a low deposit, the hidden fees that they would pay. But many of them had a goal. They want to save for the study of the children or the grandchildren, and they were interested in opening and knowing more.
Mm-hmm. So, Francisco, how did the consulate get involved with the program?
Well, we've had a health ventanilla before for about 6-7 years, and when DCA talked about the survey and the results, we proposed the establishment of a new ventanilla, financial ventanilla, to inform the Mexican nationals and New Yorkers in general about the financial opportunities throughout the city.
So that infrastructure that you're talking about, the ventanilla, how expansive is it? How many locations are we talking about, or so forth?
Well, the ventanilla is at the consulate premises, and we have now 3 counselors that will provide one-on-one sessions and information to the Mexicans on a daily basis and for free.
And Alba, how successful has it been so far? I know it's been in place for the last 2 years. What kind of numbers are you guys seeing?
It's great. I mean, 44,000 people already receive free information and brochures. About 2,300 got free counseling one-on-one, and about 1,700 got free tax preparation done at the embassy. About 655 were newcomers, first time that they do the U.S. Tax preparation there.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because I noticed from some of the statistics that a lot of people were coming in for help with tax, and also too with finding out about financial services, banks and so forth. Was that specifically because those were the services being offered, or were those specifically because people were saying, hey, listen, we want to file our taxes, so we need help with that in particular?
Yeah, Arriva is the counselor that was hired. It's a bronze-based organization, and they provide free tax prep and a lot of financial counseling. So financial counseling is budgeting, open the accounts, paying their debt. And many of them actually were able to save and keep their savings there and grow their savings.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Are people just kind of chomping at the bit to come in? Are you guys overwhelmed with the space-wise?
Well, it's been very successful. I mean, this is a new service at the consulate, and in fact, we are the only consulate throughout the United States, and we have 50 of them. This is the only consulate that provides this information. So the Mexicans are happy to know this is available for them, and it's such a great program based on the financial empowerment centers that DCA has throughout the cities, throughout the city, that many Mexicans living in the metropolitan area,
right,
when they go to the consulate, let's say for a passport or a consular ID, they find out they have the services available for them. So I mean, they are happy. They go home and then they tell their cousins, their friends, their neighbors, and it's been successful.
Now, Alba, I know that because of the financial crisis, a lot of immigrants, a lot of people were turned off of the banks and so forth. Are you guys running into any kind of resistance? Are people saying, hey, listen, you know what we've heard about during the financial crisis has steered us away from banks? Are you guys getting any of that kind of resistance from?
Not much, not from the immigrant community. I mean, what happened with the Mexican community, some of them were concerned what type of IDs they have to submit. Is the information going to be shared with all the government agencies? And that was mostly the concern. At the Mexican consulate, we also helped them get the itinerary tax ID number instead of the Social Security number, so they could file the income taxes. So Arriba also helped them get that information, so they're not concerned. One of the reasons that we also placed it in the Mexican consulate, as an immigrant myself, we rely on the consulate. We go there to do our passports. We trust them. So we trust what they're telling us there. So that's one of the reasons also that we rely on the Mexican consulate.
I just want to follow up from that question as regards to, is it only with banks that you guys are now setting these immigrants up, or are you saying, hey, listen, there's another option like a credit union? Are you guys introducing them to that as well?
Many credit unions participate. We actually, some of our financial empowerment centers are affiliated with credit unions. So it's whatever fits the person better and they feel more comfortable with, that's what we do. We have about 200, we have 30 financial empowerment centers, about more than 200 tax preparation sites that they do it for free. And it's whatever the person feels more comfortable with. And it's not only immigrants, it's anyone in New York City could go there.
Okay. Wow. So can people watching, where could they find out if there's a preparation center close to them that can facilitate?
I mean, if they call 311, and it's either close where you work, whatever makes it easy for the person to go. And the financial empowerment centers will then, make an appointment and educate them. They will guide them what kind of documents they need to bring. If you have debt, they actually call even the person that they owe money to. They try to mediate and help.
Oh, really?
At least to do a budget and to help and bring that debt down and get them out of that and then get them to save some money.
Oh, wow. So it's not just, hey, putting them in touch with the bank. It's okay. How long do these relationships last? Are these, can people come back for continued access and so forth?
They do. I mean, one of the ones that actually went, Arriba, that is housed in the Bronx, actually went there not that long ago, because the New York City ID, they were also helping get some of those New York City IDs. The person that was there waiting to do the tax preparation for free, she has been doing it with them like for 2-3 years already, and she comes back every year. And she goes back to them and says, this is what I have done. He says, they do it well, like to keep guiding her. Okay. So it's not a one-time thing. They could come back again.
All right. Okay. So a couple of final thoughts. What's next for the program? Do you guys see it expanding or what's next?
Right now, the Mexican embassies are planning to expand them in the U.S. to a few more places because it's a success. And I believe they're going to start with 2 maybe.
I know that Los Angeles, the Mexican consulate in Los Angeles is about to open the same kind of program over there. And of course, we hope other ventanillas will open up in the near future. The important thing is that as you said, most Mexicans, since they are undocumented, they think that they are not able to open a bank account. So first of all, we let them know that they can. They can have an IT number. If they can't get a Social Security number, with an IT number, they can open a bank account. And throughout the Ventanilla, we try to teach them about savings, budgeting, debt, taxes. Let's say some of them worked in Mexico or lived in Mexico, so they might want to know how they close a bank account or move the money or send remittances or buying a house, for example. So that information is also available for them at the Ventanilla.
All right, wonderful. Francisco and Alba, great conversation. Thank you very much. And best of luck with the initiative.
Thank you, Safis.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When we come back, a new comedy wants viewers to take stock of their lives. Before that, Crystal Lowe has some other news.
Thanks, Abby. Here's a look at some headlines from New York's ethnic and community media. The Forward investigates a local civilian force comprised of traditionally observant Jewish men in Yiddish-speaking Borough Park, Brooklyn. The Shamrim was founded in the early 1990s under the tutelage of the 66th Precinct. Over the years, these ties have helped the Shamrim increase their influence while helping the 66th Precinct manage security within Borough Park's difficult-to-penetrate Hasidic world. They assist the police with catching suspects and intercede on the behalf of Orthodox Jews to mitigate police involvement in their affairs. In recent years, the group has come under fire following bribery and corruption charges. The probe into the organization also claims that the Shamrim arranges for Jews arrested on minor offenses in the 66th Precinct to be released with desk appearances, rather than being processed through central booking. Many questions are also being raised following an incident where one of the Shamrim savagely beat a civilian while on patrol. Critics wonder about the group's ability to carry out law enforcement functions without facing the same accountability as police officers. El Diario La Prensa covers New York City's growing heroin epidemic. According to Special Agent James Hunt, who is in charge of the New York Division of the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, heroin use and trafficking in New York City has skyrocketed. Cartels are turning the city into the epicenter of distribution for the entire Northeast. Figures from the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene reveal that in 2014, more people died from overdosing on heroin or other opioids than were killed in New York. As the outlook on the trafficking and commercialization of heroin in New York City grows, the UN General Assembly held a special session on drugs last week to assess the global ramifications of the drug, as well as to propose new measures to strengthen the fight against it. Years after fleeing violence in the neighborhood, a Harlem man returns home to make a difference. DNA Info reports on Brian Benjamin, the business development director for Genesis, the Harlem construction giant. Benjamin came back to Harlem to provide affordable housing for the community while creating jobs for young adults. The company seeks to hire 22 to 27-year-old men who have veered off course in their lives. Genesis was founded in 2004 by the former investment banker Karim Hudson. The company's mission is to expand into increasingly gentrified neighborhoods while preserving affordable housing within these communities. Mayor Bill de Blasio recently honored Genesis for their part in getting him closer to his goal of building and preserving 200,000 units across the city by 2024. And finally, from Open City News, the story of Chinese retirees dancing away loneliness. Columbus Park in Chinatown is a location of choice for a group of primarily Chinese women who are using dance as a way of staying fit and fighting off loneliness and depression. The routine is particularly important to these ladies because therapy is a largely undisclosed and frowned upon practice within many Asian communities. These women are part of the Dancing Grannies of Chinatown, ranging in ages from 50 until their early 80s. In addition to helping these ladies relieve stress, dancing helps them break down language barriers. Although the participants speak Mandarin Chinese with strict proficiency, many do not speak English well, a factor that often isolates them from the larger American society. Dancing allows the women to communicate through natural rhythm and laughter. Those are just a few headlines from the city's ethnic and community media. Independent sources will be right back.
Thanks for staying tuned. This week, our Film Focus segment zooms in on The Stockroom, a comedy written, directed, and starring Victor Cruz. Gary Pierre sat down with Cruz and his assistant director, who goes by the name Guru Enlightenment.
Welcome. Before we start our conversation, let's take a look at this clip of the film.
Today is my official last day as stockroom supervisor. This is Tina. This is the new girl.
How do you get to be so beautiful?
I don't know.
Your parents must have taken their time, huh?
How's it going?
The promotion isn't happening.
What?
Corporate is gonna bring in one of their own guys.
You did this to me! You're the guy that wanted my job.
Well, I was under the impression that I had the job.
All jokes aside, what do you want to do?
I would love to be a stand-up comic.
Now that makes me laugh. Tell me a joke.
I'm not gonna tell you a joke. If you've worked in the stockroom for 10 years or more, you'll never leave.
Okay. If you want to believe in that.
Tomorrow, I make 10 years here. And if I don't do this, I'm done. That's it.
I'm an alligator.
Each man may decide to fight another man, but in the end, He's only fighting himself.
See, I've been doing this for a while, and I know exactly what buttons to push. Your buttons are very obvious. You reek of fear.
You ready to say goodbye to this place?
Think so?
Victor, why did you want to make this film? Is it autobiographical?
It's slightly autobiographical. I worked in the 90s, I worked in a stockroom of a clothing store. I loved the people that I worked with, and we had such a good time that I wanted to capture some of those stories. And I said to myself back in the 90s, I think it was maybe 1998, I said, one day this is going to be the first feature film that I make. And I even drew a picture, put it on the wall, and said this is going to be the one. And then years went by, placed in the back of my head somewhere. And in 2012, I decided to write this script. It sort of resurfaced again, the idea. And so, yeah.
So Guru Enlightenment, tell us about your role in the film. Why were you brought in to work in this project?
Well, I know him as Spiritual Tree, and he's my student for about 10 years.
About 10 years.
10 years. And I did a play myself, The Unknown, which Tree was involved. So we're very connected. You know, not only is he my student, but he's my friend, and he's like a son to me. And he asked me would I help him in his project, and I said of course. And I directed him in the project that he did in the movie, and I also directed the other people that were there.
What else did you bring to the set?
I brought a lot of calmness. It was very peaceful. People allowed themselves to get comfortable with each other. It was not about pride and ego. I treated everybody different because everybody is different. You can't treat people the same. And I feel that that's what brought a lot of peace and calmness at the time that we were taping. It was really great. It really was great.
So Victor, have your friends seen the film, those you portrayed in the film?
You know what? They haven't seen the movie yet, believe it or not. A lot of them have not seen it. I'm still connected with a handful of them. So I look forward to one of these days when they can come out and see the movie, or even download it or buy it, or maybe we can all get together and have fun and remember the old days.
I mean, I know you said it's about this place that you work, but what's the bigger meaning of the movie? What message you want the audience to take away from this film?
Sure. I think one of the bigger messages is that we grow up in a society in which it tells us who we are, all right? And this is a lot of the lessons that my teachers taught me along the way, which I've implemented a lot of spiritual lessons in the film. The idea that, you put yourself in your own prison, and at any point you can stop and say, you know what, I'm gonna free myself from this situation. I don't need to be miserable. But because we don't know better, we've been kind of conditioned this way all along, through our lives, that we think that we're unhappy because of something else most of the time. But we can make a change. We can say, you know what? I'm going to do something different. I'm going to take a risk.
Mm-hmm. So why did you use comedy to put this message out, as opposed to a drama or something more serious?
Well, comedy understands darkness very well. Comedy can see darkness. Comedy can take a flashlight to darkness or a candle and light it up and show it to you. This is why we laugh. This is why we laugh at our own miseries, because comedy does that for us. And at the same time, we learn. We actually learn. Comedy is the best way to teach people lessons, right? Because you can present it to them just for what it is. It could be dramatic. It could be just serious. But some people are, might be afraid to hear it that way. But it presented to them as comedy. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, wow, I see it now. I get it. And while you're laughing, you're also releasing that energy that you've been holding on to for a long time. So,
well, unfortunately, we're out of time.
What?
Guru Enlightenment.
Yes.
Victor Cruz, not the football player, the comedian.
Not to be mistaken for the salsa dancing football player.
Exactly. Thanks for joining us. This is great.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
The film is available on Vimeo On Demand and on the website stockroommovie.com. Stay tuned, there's more to come on Independent Sources. finally from us, for many Black women, dating outside of their race is almost taboo. Grace Salvant, a young New York City-based poet, took on the subject in a poem that she released on YouTube. That piece has since gone viral. She joins me in studio this week to talk about this issue and how she feels about the response she's gotten from the public. Welcome, Grace.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being here. Tell us a bit about your poem, William.
The poem William is actually based on real events. Back in November, I ran into someone and it was just unexpected. We had a conversation, it was brief, but throughout the entire time I was just like, okay, this is different. This is something I'm not used to. And I literally went home and I probably wrote about 80 to 90% of that poem. And then over the course of probably about a month later, I tweaked the rest of it. But it was based on real experience.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you feel about the fact that a lot of Black women are not trying to date outside of their race?
I think it comes from, a different perspective. We kind of want, the Mufasa. We want someone that looks like our dad. We want, the Barack. We want a strong Black father figure and male figure in our homes. Either maybe that's what we never had growing up, or we want it just to be like our fathers. And so I understand it, and that's why I was really conflicted when I met William. It's not his real name, but I edited it to protect his privacy. I don't know if he's seen it, but I definitely understand why we don't, or would be more hesitant to do so.
What was it like putting the actual production together of the video? I mean, it's gone viral.
Yeah, huge. I don't know. That kind of scared me. I was like, viral? Oh no. So many people are watching it. Last time I checked, it was like 25,000 views, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna stop this now because I'm not gonna check it back anymore. But the whole production of it was very similar to just what actually happened. My videographer and we came up pretty much with the treatment. I really wanted it to kind of reveal throughout the course of the poem that he was actually a Caucasian man at the end, because I didn't really want anybody to see that part yet. And it's like, well, what is she talking about? Why is she so concerned about this particular person? Who's William? So that's really where the videography came from. But yeah, it just came together the way it was, what I felt like it was supposed to be. I was very pleased with the end product.
Okay, and you mentioned that you had, issues with actually putting it out.
I did. I was very, very nervous because as much as I am a supporter of our people, Black people, I love us, sometimes things like this are seen as a betrayal. Sometimes things like this are seen as, well, why is she talking about this? Why is she having this conversation? But for me, I really wanted to start the conversation because I know that my peers even have had conversations with me about, well, when we're walking down the street and they see maybe an interracial couple, it's just like there's something that happens. Yeah. And I was like, well, what is this about? Can we dissect it? And it didn't really, it didn't dawn on me until it happened to me. And I was like, oh, okay. And that's when I realized that this probably happens to a lot of Black women where they feel a sense of loyalty, complete loyalty to Black men, and that's why they don't want to. And they fear the repercussions of what they're going to be called, or, somebody actually commented and called me a Negro bedwench.
Wow, I was going to ask you what men have been saying.
Some men, most of the feedback has been mostly positive. There were some people, I actually stopped reading the comments because they started to get a little bit aggressive and, just a little bit too much. A lot of people were like internet trolls.
Internet gangsters?
Yes, internet
keyboard gangsters?
Yes, yes. And for me, it was just, the response was mixed. My friends did read the comments and some of them were like clapping back, and I was like, oh goodness, please let's not do this. But from men, it was mixed. Some were saying, we've talked about this conversation. Some were saying, you're not loyal. Some were saying, Negro bedwench, hashtag
wow.
Negro bedwench fantasies, I think that's what they said.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, I never said that, if you watched it to the end, you would see what my conflict was. So there is a loyalty issue there. Black women were mostly like, girl, do you get down with the swirl? I'm down with the swirl.
The swirl meaning black
vanilla
and
chocolate.
Mixing.
Yeah, that's the swirl apparently.
Yeah.
So there was just a lot of mixed conversations happening, but a lot of it had to do with the way as Black women we kind of want to be loyal to Black men, and that's why we are a little bit hesitant to go and find a William, or to let a William find us, rather.
And the production was done in Brooklyn, correct?
It was.
Yeah.
It was. The production happened in a coffee shop, but the actual event when I met William was down the block in a smoothie kind of spot, but the coffee shop was a little bit easier to shoot. So, I mean, it happened, and exactly the way I described it in the poem, it happened, and I was just kind of like lost in a trance this entire time. And then when we had a conversation, it just ended up going left, and I said, okay, I gotta go. I was nervous. I was really, really nervous, but I did shoot it in Brooklyn. He lives in Brooklyn somewhere, and I don't know if he's seen it, but yeah.
Grace, thank you so much for being on the show this week.
Thank you.
We want to leave you this week with Grace's performance of her poem, William.
This was never about the way he strolled into the coffee shop, book bag slung over his shoulder, towering frame and stature. It was never about how instantly or instinctively I pulled out my phone and switched on my front-facing camera, grabbed a couple of napkins from the counter to wipe off residue of lipstick from a previous conversation. I had never felt butterflies quite as quickly. I've also never seen a halo or an angel, but I figured since he was standing right there that there's a first time for everything. This was never about the sweetness of our brief interaction. It was also never about the subtlety of a hint of a foreign accent that I detected when he asked me how long I had lived in the area and mentioned how much it had changed. How he used to live here, but now the birthplace of Biggie is his home. The A-train was more convenient. It was never about how I silently promised myself that I would definitely go to Bed-Stuy now because I finally had a reason. It was never about how he smiled when he talked, that his eyes twinkled and he had dimples and it was cold outside, but suddenly I felt hot. It was never about the fact that I thank God that for once I wasn't in a rush, and for my complexion because it was a very good chance that he did not see me blush. But since we're on the subject, I may as well mention what it was actually about. While I was standing there thanking God for my lush pigmentation that my body lives in, I was simultaneously melting from staring into his eyes that were the same hue of grayish blue that the sky is when the sun is shining, and his skin, tan, but clearly void of vast amounts of melanin. Before he told me his daddy was Creole and from the South, I figured out that there was something different about him, and it may have built a bridge. But the very essence of his first identifying factor suggests that he was bathed in white privilege, and I felt betrayed by my heart. There he was, tall, dark, and handsome, 6'2", eyes blue, took my very soul for ransom. It's not supposed to be this way. I'm not supposed to be infatuated with a man who looks like this. I'm supposed to want my future family raised by a man they can identify with. I was overcome with the notion of should. Look at me, the epitome of black womanhood, and here I am fawning over this white man in an era where voices shout Black Lives Matter and bodies marching in the street. He started to become the subject of my fantasies, not just sexually, but intellectually, especially after our conversation about gentrification and socioeconomic statuses. I wonder if anyone else has ever met someone that made them simultaneously remember and forget that everyone up to this point has been a huge disappointment, and they've also probably been the same. They say love is love until you're walking down the street hand in hand. Could it withstand the whispers, the looks from both brothers and sisters as if you personally offended them? The eyes that shout you're a sellout and you couldn't find yourself a brother? Would I clap back and say I did and I tried, but maybe you should call them up and talk to their mothers? Because the truth is, all my life I've been conditioned to love my own men unconditionally. But where do I draw the line when sometimes I feel little to no reciprocity? Or would I stare back silently with a smile on my face but endure my guilt privately? Would our children be a representation of slavery in the modern day? How could I explain it? What would his family say? Would we be equally yoked, deeply rooted to endure thick and thin? Would we be able to watch Roots without me routinely resenting him? I struggled. We locked eyes. I told him my name. He reached out and extended his hand, and then we went our separate ways. I went home to write this poem, and I never looked back. Dear William, I could have loved you in ways unimaginable. I just wish you were black.